All right, hello everybody. KVUE Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with our nightly edition of the extended forecast. Kind of a rare early August treat that we experienced today. We had rain move through at the exact perfect time of the day that it kept us rain cooled even into the afternoon. So highs today only in the 80s and low 90s. I don't think you're guessing at what I'm going to say next. Obviously, this was a short-term deal. We're going to be back to more typical summer weather as we go through the rest of this week. So that, let's get into things. Here's a live view. This is our Oasis cam looking out at Lake Travis. So back to mainly dry weather as the heat is ramping up again. Now, as I say that, I'll be honest with you. I've put together a forecast for this stretch here in early August that have been far, far hotter than the 7-day that I'll show you here in a couple of minutes. So it's hot, but a lot of these numbers are just at average, if not a little bit cooler. So again, I think we'll kind of take it at this point. The tropics also turning more active. Remember, as we go into late August and especially early September, this is the most active part of the hurricane season. I don't have any immediate concerns for Texas, so I'll just go ahead and say that. But there's a couple systems out there that bear watching just in the broader picture for the United States. So we'll get into that coming up here in a second as well. All right, now look at the high temperatures today. Again, 90. For Austin. The preliminary update was 89. I was like, man, we might actually get a day here, and this is incredibly rare. As I'll show you, we might actually get an August day that stays in the 80s, but they bumped us up one more degree, so I ended up officially at 90. At 91 at the airport, Taylor did stay in the 80s today at 86. Giddings 88, Cameron 89. San Marcos, one of the warmer pockets at 93. There was less rain across the hill country, so areas there made it into the low 90s. Okay, so about these cool August days. I went back and pulled the numbers for the coolest afternoon each August for the past 5 years. So obviously, so far this August, we'll see how it goes, but so far 90 degrees is our coolest day. Last year, the coolest August day was 92. 2023 was just brutal. The coolest number, this is crazy, was 99. And then you get to 2022, 87 was the coolest day in that August, and then in 2021, there's a day of 86. Now, when we got that preliminary number of 89, this was more relevant to what happened today, but only 3 Augusts have stayed in the 80s, so only 3 Augusts have had high temperatures less than 90 since 2020, which is pretty crazy. We almost bumped that up to 4 today, but obviously that was not the case. Okay, so to get those cooler temperatures, we obviously needed the rain. So we had rain-cooled air today. Heaviest rain was east. Many areas here where you see the green, that's at least an inch of rain. So Milam County, even eastern sections of Williamson County into Lee, Bastrop, and Fayette County, many areas got at least an inch of rain. It was much more spotty across the Austin metro, and then there was also a little batch of some rain that moved down through the hill country, but totals there were generally less than 1/4 of an inch. Still, we have the imprint to some of this rain-cooled air, running anywhere from 7 to 10 degrees cooler than 24 hours ago. That, again, puts many of us in the 80s right now. Satellite and radar at the moment has gone completely quiet, so the rain from earlier has dissipated. I don't expect any additional redevelopment of showers through this evening or tonight. I have been watching some of this weak activity back east, kind of weakening on the northeast side of Houston, then a little bit more of this activity trying to work into the Brazos Valley. We'll keep an eye on it, but again, it should be mainly dry for us. And then you get into some severe stuff over parts of West Texas, but that is moving southwest away from us. So again, I think this is all going to boil down to pretty quiet weather for this evening into tonight. We'll say just a partly cloudy sky. Temperatures certainly not like crisp, but we'll be in the low 70s for most spots. So again, given we're at the hottest part of the year, 76 is the normal, so we'll be several degrees cooler than average. For areas east of I-35 that got a little bit more rain earlier today, there could be some patchy low clouds and some fog just because the ground is holding on to some of that moisture. Low 70s, maybe some upper 60s across the hill country tonight. Then tomorrow, we'll say it's a mix of clouds and sunshine. There's a 10% chance for a sea breeze, shower, or a downpour, mainly over our southeastern areas. I'm not really expecting any rain in Austin or in the hill country tomorrow. High temperatures. Look, it's hot, but again, given it's August, these are very manageable numbers, mid to upper 90s. 95 Bastrop, Lockhart 97, San Marcos 98, mainly mid 90s as you go to the hill country. Again, look at that average of 99. That's the hottest the average gets at any part of the year here in central Texas. So technically, it will be 2 degrees cooler than average for tomorrow. As we go through the rest of this week, there's not going to be any single one day that just leaps up like 5 degrees, but we'll add a degree or so each day, and that slowly will get us back to and above average by the end of the week. So Wednesday, 98, still cooler than average. 99 Thursdays at average, 100 again on Friday. Then I think honestly we'll just level off around 99 to 100 through this weekend and into next week. So the 7-day forecast and kind of looking beyond over the next week, it looks just hot, but not like crazy hot. I don't see any like 110 type numbers. I don't see any numbers that are cool, but if we can just kind of keep things mid upper 90s this time of the year, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Here's the tropical outlook. So again, we've got some stuff going on. Gulf right now completely quiet, so we'll get that part out of the way. Now as we go over into the Atlantic, so a few things. Here's Tropical Storm Dexter, which developed a couple days ago. And it's a tropical storm, but it's moving east away from the United States. So that will be just a kind of a fish system there, not a problem for the United States. We have this area off the coast of the Carolinas and Georgia and off the Atlantic coast of Florida. This has a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days, so we'll keep an eye on that too. But honestly, this is probably the one that bears the most watching right now. This is a fresh wave coming off the African continent into the main development region of the Atlantic. It's not much right now, but you can see they've already tagged this with a 50% chance of development over the next 7 days. And some of the model guidance gets a little bit more aggressive with this. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. If you follow along on, X and Facebook and stuff, you'll probably see all sorts of model guidance coming out for major hurricane landfall and stuff. We don't know what's going to happen, but obviously that will be a system that we keep an eye on. And again, none of the models, none of the long range stuff that I'm looking at right now says Texas needs to be imminently concerned about anything. For tonight, partly cloudy. I've got a 10% shower chance in there. I think we'll be mainly dry though. We'll drop down to about 73. Then tomorrow, mix of clouds and sunshine. Still a 10% chance for a shower or a storm, mainly over Lee, Fayette, Bastrop, or Caldwell counties. Austin, Hill Country should be dry. 97 tomorrow. Again, hot, but look, pretty manageable. Early August 7-day, all things considered. Again, it's Austin, Texas. It's going to be hot this time of the year, but we can keep these numbers upper 90s, lower triple digits. Again, I've made much hotter 7-day forecasts for this time of the year the past few summers. 99 Thursday, I will take us to 100 on Friday, and then I think we kind of level off 99, 98 for this weekend into early next week. Now, remember, it's kind of a margin for error in the forecast. Could some of these 99s become 100s? Could some of these 98s become 97? Of course, we're going to be kind of in the ballpark of 100 for the next 7 days or so. But again, pretty manageable, all things considered. All right, we will take a little bit of a break here to 7:13. We'll take a dinner break, and next update from me is going to be KVUE News at 10 o'clock, and we'll have some new model data and everything, and we'll get into the forecast, talk more about the tropics then. Y'all have a good night, and I will talk to you all later.